Girls, what is the most awkward thing a guy has ever said to you? I was working as a cashier at Target during college when this guy came through my line with the weirdest combination of items. A box of condoms, chocolate chip cookies, and a stuffed unicorn. Already strange, right? But then he looked me dead in the eye and said, "These are all for you." I thought he was joking, so I laughed and kept scanning his items. But he just stood there staring at me with this intense expression like he was waiting for me to respond. The silence got really uncomfortable really fast. That's sweet, but I'm working," I said, trying to keep things light. That's when he leaned over the counter and whispered, "I've been watching you for weeks. I know your schedule. You work Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 2 to 8. My blood went cold. I looked around for my manager, but the store was pretty empty. It was like 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, so most of the staff was in the back doing inventory. I live across the street in the blue apartment building," he continued. "I can see you through the windows when you count your register at the end of your shift. You always count twice because you're very careful with money." I started shaking. This guy had been watching me for weeks and I had no idea. I tried to stay calm and just finish the transaction as quickly as possible. "Your total is $23.47, I said, hoping my voice didn't sound as terrified as I felt. He pulled out exact change, counting it slowly like he was trying to make this last longer. Then he said the part that still makes my skin crawl. "I've been practicing conversations with you in my mirror. I know exactly what you're going to say to everything. You're going to say thank you when I give you these gifts. Then you're going to ask me what time I get off work so we can go to dinner." I stared at him. I'm definitely not going to say that. His face changed completely, like I'd just ruined his entire plan. He got angry and said, "But you have to." I wrote it all down. I practiced. He actually pulled out this crumpled piece of paper from his pocket and started reading from it. "Emma says thank you for the gifts. Emma asks about dinner plans. Emma gives me her phone number." That's when I realized this guy was completely detached from reality. He had our entire relationship planned out in his head, and I was just supposed to follow along like a script. "Sir, I need you to leave now," I said as firmly as I could. "But we haven't finished the conversation yet," he said, looking back at his paper. "You still need to tell me your favorite restaurant." I pressed the call button for security and started backing away from the register. He got more agitated and said, "This isn't how it's supposed to go. You're messing up the whole plan." That's when I noticed other customers starting to stare. A woman with 2 kids moved to a different register. An older man positioned himself where he could see what was happening. Security finally showed up, thank God. 2 guys in red Target shirts who looked like they handled weird customers all the time. The stalker guy tried explaining to them that I was his girlfriend, and we just had a misunderstanding. "She's not responding correctly to the gifts," he told them, completely serious. "I think she's confused about the protocol." The security guards looked at me, then looked at the pile of condoms, cookies, and unicorn on the counter. They immediately understood what was happening and asked him to leave the store. He started arguing that he didn't finish his purchase yet, but they escorted him outside anyway. I had to fill out an incident report and they walked me to my car after my shift ended. The really creepy part, 2 weeks later, I got a Facebook friend request from him. His profile had like 50 photos of me taken from across the street, pictures of me walking to work, pictures through the Target windows, even pictures of my car in the parking lot. I immediately blocked him and reported everything to the police. Turns out he had similar photos of 3 other girls who worked at businesses near my Target. The cops said he'd been building these fantasy relationships with random women and following them for months. They arrested him for stalking and found journals at his apartment with detailed plans for relationships with women who had never even spoken to him. Each journal had conversation scripts, gift lists, and future date ideas. The detective told me I did everything right by calling security instead of trying to handle it myself. Apparently guys like that can escalate really quickly when their fantasy doesn't match reality. I quit that job the next week and moved to a different part of town. But now I'm super aware of my surroundings all the time. That creepy experience taught me to trust my gut when someone gives me weird vibes.